Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the regular meeting of the Englewood Cliffs Mayor and Council. Today is December 11th, 2019. It's about 8:27 p.m., and I call the meeting to order. Could everybody please rise, face the flag, and we're going to have the Little League team lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, okay? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, would everybody please remain standing for a moment of silence for the following? And please remember these people and their families in your prayers and thoughts. First, Jersey City Police Detective Joseph Seals. He was killed yesterday in the line of duty. Second, Houston Police Sergeant Christopher Brewster, who was also killed in the line of duty on Saturday night. Third, Huntsville, Alabama Police Officer Billy Fred Clardy III. He was killed in the line of duty on Friday night. Fourth, Fayetteville, Arkansas Police Officer Stephen Carr. He was killed in the line of duty last Saturday. And also, please remember, former Englewood Cliffs resident Carmel Steuben died at the age of 102 recently. Okay, a moment of silence, please. Thank you, everyone. We're going to do a roll call now.
Mayor Kranjak?
Here.
Councilpersons Wu?
Here.
Song?
Here.
Sabari? Here. Park? Here. Ursa?
Here.
O? Here. Borough Attorney?
Here.
DPW Superintendent?
Here.
Municipal Clerk? Everyone's present, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And a warm welcome to the 10U Little League team and their coaches. We'll get to you in a minute. I just want to point out to everyone, I'm glad that the children are all here and their friends and families. What we do every month out in the foyer or the lobby, we collect food for the food pantry of Englewood, the Office of Concerned Food Pantry. We try to help those who need help in Bergen County. So if you have a non-perishable food item today or tonight or tomorrow, just drop it off in the lobby. It'll be open. So thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Oh, and there's also a toy collection by the police department, correct?
Well, yes, we'll be collecting toys up until December 18th, so if you could please drop off a new unwrapped toy and think of other children that would want to spend the holiday playing toys, please consider that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for reminding me. So we're here to honor the Englewood Cliffs Little League 10U team tonight. They won the Fall 10U NEBAS Championship last month. Very exciting. The 10U team played in a division with 14 teams from other Bergen County towns and finished the regular season with 6 wins and 2 losses. That's great. Englewood Cliffs avenged their 2 losses in the playoffs. That's even better, including an extra inning, nail-biting 7-6 victory versus our neighbor Fort Lee, followed by a decisive 11-5 victory versus Rutherford in the finals. The 10U team were true road warriors this fall, having played 8 of their 10 games on the road and have come a long way since winning only 2 games in the fall of 2017. That's great. We look forward to seeing what more this team can accomplish in the future. I want you here every year for a championship celebration. So let me introduce the team to you now. When I call out your name, just raise your hand and take a step forward, okay? Andrew Capuano. Patrick Day. Krishna Egan Zatwani. Peter Ferrara. Ryan Toom. Charlie Kroll. Charlie Lambrinidis. Max Lee. Peter Liao. Xavier Montes. Charlie Negrini. Denise Orso. Christopher Friedler. And their manager, Greg Negrini. And the coaches, Alex Ferrara, Sam Lee, Javier Montes, Steve Orso, and George Piekler. Congratulations, everyone. And that's a great-looking trophy there. Who gets to keep that? You're all sharing it? Okay. All right. Well, so, I'm sure you all did this, but did you thank all your coaches and parents?
Yeah.
Excellent, great. And I see some supporters here, and it's a great thing. We love doing this with the children. Whenever there's a championship, make sure we know about it. Maybe what we could do is a group photo. I don't know if the council wants to go down and take a photo, standing behind the kids. So, players, take a step forward, and we'll fill in behind you.
Hello? Hello? Yes, fine.
All right, smile, everybody. Great, thanks again. Who's got homework tonight?
No, I finished it.
You did all your homework?
I finished it. I did homework.
Everybody finish your homework?
Yeah. We don't learn.
All right.
Don't sit
Thanks for coming. How about happy holidays? Happy
But he's still here for the... Yeah, that's good.
You got your own neighbor.
Is that going up or still?
Who's old neighbor?
Oh, where's
Yours, right there with the gray sweatshirt. He's just about to walk out on the right-hand side.
Was he in the corner of Hollywood?
A little, not totally.
Maybe having a round of those.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like the clerk to read into the record the Open Public Meetings Act statement. Thank you.
Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the press and posted as required. Date and time of this meeting was legally given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. This notice is on file with the municipal clerk and posted on the bulletin board. Minutes of this meeting will be made available to the public upon the completion of typing and proofreading by the municipal clerk.
Great, thank you. So we received department head reports, and I see our DPW superintendent is here. We have your report, but did you want to add anything? You want to say anything?
Sure, with the late Thanksgiving Day holiday and the old snowstorm, we are a little behind on leaves, which will be out this week, and next week doing a final pass on leaves.
Okay, so I don't know if everybody heard Mr. Neville. Leaf collections are almost completed. By next week, they will be completed. They were delayed a bit because of the snow. Recycling in the South Cliffs was put off from today to tomorrow because of the weather. Did anybody on council have any questions for Mr. Neville? No?
Well, I actually have a question. On Hollywood this past weekend, I don't know if it was a water main break or a leak or whatever happened there, and they tore up the street, of course, which was recently paved.
Yeah, right.
So-
We have to infer that in.
Are they, has the work been completed?
Well, as I say, the work, the repair's been done.
The repair's done.
Because then, obviously, this is whether it's more delayed,
Okay.
be momentarily involved.
Thank you.
Mark?
Do they typically give any advance notice Because that was,
They have their infrastructure, and they have the right way to get to it, fix it, repair it. For the street, they have to repair the specs, which is a, you can't just roll.
it's just because when it's turned back on, there may be, the water may not be clean, and just making sure.
There's all,
Yeah.
regulations they give you on water, and they turn the water back on. That's what.
Okay, yeah, in this case, I don't think they notified, they gave anything to...
I got a notice after I called you.
After they, okay.
So, then they put a notice that the water was gonna be shut off at 12 a.m. on the 7th and put back on at 3:30. So it did come back on at 3:30, but that notice came after the fact, so.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Mr. Neville has also promised me that there'll be no more snow this year, so I thank you.
All right.
But today was actually a perfect storm, because there was really nothing stuck on the roads. Nancy and I actually went into Palisade Interstate Park and walked through the woods there, and it was just lovely, because the trees were all covered with snow, but the ground wasn't, which was actually great, yeah. So if you ever have a chance to go over there, you should definitely check it out. It's great.
So what can I first mark?
Yeah, okay. We received correspondence from the New Jersey Department of Transportation. It was a grant letter for $215,000 for paving, and this will be put towards some of the roads that we need to pave, including Fifth Street, correct?
Correct.
Did you want to add anything? No? Nothing? We have minutes from November 13th, caucus and regular. Did everybody have a chance to review those? Yeah. If they're acceptable, can somebody move them in?
Make a motion to move
I second it, Mayor.
Okay,
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
O,
Yes.
okay. So before we open the public, I just want to add a few comments regarding the affordable housing issues that we're all facing, that you're well aware of, and just to refresh your recollections, Councilman Wu and I, we still have not received information and communications regarding the council majority's activities regarding affordable housing since November 2018, as it turns out. Originally, I thought it was just since January 4th, 2019. It's actually November 2018. We've repeatedly demanded the information from the council and their attorneys, Mr. Wunsch, Troutner, and Serenian. And in fact, I even requested judicial intervention to obtain it. As it turned out, the same judge that is hearing our affordable housing litigation with Normandy denied me the information, and which should make all of you wonder why the judge listening to our case would not want the most senior officer of the borough to not have the necessary information. Okay, let your minds take you wherever you want, and fill in the blanks. So Councilman Wu and I always advocated to build a 100% affordable housing project on Hudson Terrace to satisfy our borough's obligation with 77 units, and we always had other properties in mind to make up any judicially imposed difference. And we still advocate for that. Our council, Wunsch, Serenian, and Troutner, apparently stopped that plan in January 2019 and tried to settle with Normandy, as you know. No one really has been willing to tell us who ordered the Hudson Terrace plan to be stopped. And I hope that the public continues to join me in demanding an answer. At last month's mayor and council meeting, Councilwoman O asked me how I intend to stop high-density housing at 800 Sylvan. I replied that Assembly Bill 5137, introduced in March, puts a moratorium on all affordable housing litigation in New Jersey, so that the legislature can fix the problem that it actually created. I told Councilwoman Wu that we and others across the state need to force our legislators to act. I even handed out the names and contact information for our legislators here, to Senator Weinberg, Assemblyman Johnson, and Assemblywoman Huddle. I have those with me tonight as well, if you want. I could give you the information. I added to my answer to Councilwoman O's question that I also need all information and communications that have been kept from Councilman Wu and me. So Councilman Wu made a motion to accomplish just that. and Councilman Song, and I thank him for doing this, seconded the motion. And the motion passed with only Councilman Aversa abstaining, or voting no, actually, without reason. No. So the day after our meeting, I did what you think I would do, is I made a demand to each council member, attorneys and our professionals and our borough administrator for the information. And I received no information or communications in response except that the borough administrator and Councilman Song said that they have nothing. Attorney Wunsch, in his usual self-important manner, claimed he did not have to abide by my request. So I received no information and have not been included in any communications, other than 2 summary letters recently, but nothing in real time. So I again emphasize to you that the majority of this council and their professionals are still not fighting for you. You should all be angry and let them know. Perhaps the reason is that the state Democrats who control the legislature also control your council. The state legislature, it continues to ignore Bill 5137 and the much-needed affordable housing moratorium. You should know that the state legislature did not have a voting session for 6 months until recently this year. And when they finally did, they did not take up the issues that matter the most, the hard-working New Jerseyans such as you, and those issues being stop high-density housing, lowering property taxes, improving New Jersey's business environment, or making New Jersey more affordable. Instead, your legislature actually, after doing nothing for many months, what they did was that they shamelessly proposed acts of caving into special interest groups and tone deafness. They returned post bills giving criminals voting rights and financial aid, and giving driver's licenses to undocumented residents. Rather than deal with your affordable housing issue, they're doing something completely off the wall. This is your legislator at Trenton. You should know that Senator Lorena Weinberg, your state senator, is also the Senate Majority Leader. She does nothing. I reached out to her. I reached out to Assemblyman Johnson and Assemblywoman Huddle regarding this Assembly Bill 5137 and the affordable housing issues. But had not heard back from any of them until late this afternoon. Assemblywoman Huddle wrote to me, and I haven't had a chance to fully read it all, but essentially saying that affordable housing is very important to her because she wants to find houses for everybody. That's pretty much paraphrasing it. She's tone deaf, she doesn't get it, lacks in what we need, okay? Which is an understanding that you need to balance society with people who are actually paying for others, but you can't take advantage of those who are paying for others, because those people will just move away eventually, and they'll be left with nothing. If you recall, I also chastised the 3 of them, Johnson, Huddle, and Weinberg, when they were here in January of this year, when they were swearing in Councilwoman Sabari and Councilman Song. They kind of walked out without dealing with the affordable housing issue. I learned that another resident did receive a response from Weinberg's office, laughably stating that affordable housing is a local issue and not a state issue. Well, I say to Senator Weinberg, if it is a local issue, why is the state judge destroying this town while you sit by and watch? If it was a local issue, I'm happy to deal with it. But let's be clear, it is a state issue, because if it was in fact a local issue, I would have resolved it without any fuss. A resident in town also heard back from Assemblyman Johnson's office, also laughably stating that he does not comment on pending litigations. Well, Assemblyman Johnson, you created this litigation by your own inaction, and you certainly should comment perhaps under oath someday. The responses are clear evidence that your legislators do not care about you or other hardworking New Jerseyans. Please let them hear from you. I have their contact information, as I mentioned, and I'll give it to you. With all that said, Councilman Wu and I are proposing that until we have a moratorium or other solution, we are still advocating a 100% affordable housing project to satisfy whatever the number is that the court determines that we have to build, okay? Look, as I always said, we may not like this law, but it is a law. We have to comply with it. This all gets twisted around in court. People say, I don't want to comply with the law. That's not true. I do want to comply with the law, but I want to comply with it in a smart way, and that's the smartest way for this town, which is that we solve our own problem, rather than have a developer do a lot of high-density housing and destroy this town. So, I'm asking this council to permit us to actually pursue that plan, where we retain another professional to help us figure out our option about how to build to the 143 units. There might be a few more now, as I understand it, but essentially, we need to solve our own plan, and our own problems. So I'm asking this council to support that, and I'm hoping that you don't push back on us, because this is a solution that our current professionals are not able to or willing to help us solve, okay? And that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.
Can I be recognized, please?
Yes.
I just want to say that, at the last council meeting, Councilman Wu did make a motion asking for certain communications for you and him between the council, which we all agreed to. However, that being said, a few days later, you emailed us with a 27-person list of requirements that you want correspondence from, including Valerie Huddle, Gordon Johnson, Joseph Parisi, Governor Murphy, Thomas Carroll, and the list goes on and on. And, I just want to say, I think Councilman Wu should, either amend the motion, or I can amend the motion, to agree to provide you with communications among the council and our professionals, but the email request that you sent us was not what was the intent of the motion. That motion, you took it and you made it overly broad, completely outside the scope of what we're talking about as affordable housing. And, I know that there was a previous order by Judge Barrington, who happens to be Republican, by the way, who also told you that you were not entitled to the communication that you requested. Okay? And I should have taken a look at this order previously, but I apologize that I looked at it only 2 weeks ago. That being said, there's language in here, Mayor, that says the representation of the mayor, this is quote in the order, by his law firm, in addition to possibly violating the spirit of Judge Frisch's order, also raises the issue of potential violation of NJSA 40A, semicolon 9-22D. Although in response to the court's inquiry, Mr. Tripodi, who is your partner at your law firm, indicated that he did not anticipate billing the borough for services rendered in connection to this application. He did state something would be worked out, okay,
so-
between the mayor and the firm.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Such work, right, can I finish reading this?
Okay.
Right, so such a workout might indicate that the mayor, in his capacity as a partner in the Tripodi contract law firm, will benefit from litigation being waged by his firm against the town. So, that being said, and your request, and the reason why you got denied, according to this order, was apparently in February of 2019, January of 2019, there were 6 emails that you disseminated with Russ Perino, Harold McMorrow. In February
You're
of
part of the
2019...
litigation control group.
Okay.
Let me say this, though.
Wait, can I finish,
There's no
please?
litigation.
Okay,
Let me
so...
say this, because you're doing this out of context.
Well, no.
Now, as
Well,
mayor,
wait.
just so you know, as
Now-
mayor, I'm entitled to all this information.
Well,
It's a game that you're playing.
That's fine.
They want to talk about my law firm,
Right.
but they don't want to talk about the actual...
Well,
Let me ask you a
wait,
question.
can I
Did you give me
finish?
anything? Did you give me any
Can I
information?
finish?
The answer
Okay.
is no.
What are you
You're
talking
not
about?
giving me any information.
Hold on, let me finish, all right? So, anyway, the point being is, so, there's a reason for the order, and there's a reason why to date, that you did not get what you think you didn't get. So, that being said, there was a motion on the floor from last meeting, right? And what I'm going to propose is that we amend the meeting... we amend the motion to provide you with all communications between the council and the professionals. And that is the scope of that.
So why didn't you do that before today?
What do you mean? We're
Why
doing
am I
it
here
now.
with no information?
Because there's an order.
So you could have
Order
actually...
dated September
You
13th.
could have actually given me, see, what they're trying to do
That
is,
is not-
they're
okay.
trying to delay this long
Right.
enough so that they could say, hey, we tried to
Yeah.
fight, but we
You know
lost.
what? I try to give you an olive branch, but again, you're taking...
That's not an elephant. But you're asking me to negotiate for what I already do, rightfully do,
You
okay?
say you rightfully do, but there's an order prohibiting you.
No, it's not true. You're taking that
That
out.
is
That's
true.
not what this is relating to.
Make a motion to
All right, so,
You know,
do you
you're
want the
all
olive
saying-
branch or you don't want the olive branch?
Look, you can do whatever you want. I
Now
had a
you do
motion
whatever you
from last
want.
November that
You're
you...
complaining we're not giving you anything, and now I'm offering you
Well, you had 5
something
weeks to give it to me, and you didn't do anything.
because you're asking for 27
So
different
give me
people.
something, but now it made it so easy for me to get up here
No.
and say, I got nothing.
Absolutely
I
not.
got nothing from you.
And you know what? There's
No,
an email
it's okay.
between you and me. Basically, I told you need to amend your motion. By the way, you made the motion. Bill just kind of
I
went
didn't make
along
the
with it.
motion.
It was you.
No,
Look
you
at the
weren't even-
video.
you weren't even here.
Yes, but in any event, right? So
Bill made the
Either way,
motion.
are we gonna amend the motion?
Councilman
Do you
Song
want-
seconded it.
My question,
by the way,
Ellen.
When it comes down to this, and the judge didn't give the senior officer of this borough
No.
the information, that's a great appeal issue, okay?
Ellen, yeah, why, I just had a question.
Account for it, though.
Mayor, I have a question. Just, Councilman Park brought up the point that, the request was too broad. I'm just not quite sure how she has the ability to place a judgment on that and say what's broad or
It's gonna cost the
just
taxpayers
enough.
hundreds of thousands of dollars to get
I
communication
think
by and
communication-
between among of the following people.
Just search your email.
I think our representatives,
That's why we're giving it to you, as opposed to everybody else on this list,
It's your
because we
emails,
can't, right?
It's your emails with those people,
With our professionals.
yes, and with your
That's it.
counsel.
That's-
With
and
any-
that's
with
my
any-
motion.
With any corrupt politician
Yeah, that's
fighting these.
hilarious. Okay, so do you want me to amend the motion or not? Are you gonna give me the...
I have a motion. You don't need to
Listen,
amend
I
it.
gave you all the time to speak, and now you're, interjecting, and you're trying to bully me again.
Because my discussion is about
Right.
getting information that I'm rightfully due.
Right, okay,
You're-
all right,
you're-
I'm making the motion.
You're on it.
Yeah, okay. I'm making the motion to amend, Councilman Bill Wu's motion from the prior meeting to basically, set scope of the motion to say that we, the council, including Bill, everybody on council, will provide whatever, communications between us and the professionals, meaning the lawyers, right? Chester Enion,
Affordable housing
attorneys, thank you, affordable housing attorneys,
And each other.
right?
And each other.
We can't give you information between each other.
No, between you and Gloria, between you and,
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Right,
That's fine.
right.
That's
How
not...
about
That's
the
fine, she
attorney?
thought he was asking between the attorneys.
That's right, not everything, just regarding affordable housing.
That's right, right, regarding affordable housing.
Be careful what
What, are you gonna make fun of me
you
again?
say, because he takes everything, so you need to be very...
Right, and if you wanna, well, doesn't
God
matter.
forbid that this town actually be run democratically.
Right, because
What you have
now,
up here is not democracy.
you know what?
You have an old political machine.
Right.
And there's state people controlling these people.
Right.
And this is
Because
why...
I don't state run.
And that's
Absolutely.
why
Absolutely. Then
nobody
why,
wants to do that.
then why were you willing to settle with Normandy in July? Why?
Again, Mayor,
You
you
guys
know
were
what?
gonna
It was an
settle.
avenue that was looked at.
You're
Yeah.
going to settle, and then when the judge said, well, why didn't you settle? You said, well, we just didn't want to settle at this point. And then she said, well, show us your
Because
other...
we went out
No, no,
for
and she
public
said,
in the
show us your
budget.
other plan, and you had no plan, because you stopped developing that plan. That's the problem.
Right, so I need someone to second the motion, right?
I don't know what your motion is.
Again, I made the motion to amend I'm making a motion to provide you with, communications between the council and our affordable housing professionals, from, what did you want, January of this year to date?
No,
Yeah, that's
no,
it.
from November 2018, and the information is to be provided to me and to Councilman Wu, and it needs to be done, by close of
Right.
business Friday, because you already had him on.
No, that's, yeah, we'll get it to you, so
But can you add to that motion that we also will get all correspondence from the mayor and Billy Wu with the same professionals for the same period of time?
Absolutely.
That's fine.
You have it.
That's
You already
fine.
have it, 'cause I was copied.
we didn't get anything, so.
I copy you on all the,
No, right.
all the emails where I tell them they should
The
resign or do their
mayor's
jobs.
correspondence needs to go back to 2016.
You can have it all,
That's okay.
because they have not been our professionals, they've been your professionals.
No, you can pick
They're your
them.
professionals.
No, no,
You pick them.
but you worked them this year, folks.
Yeah, we worked them, you picked them, we worked them,
That's what you would like people to believe.
right, right.
Between Ross Perino and...
Listen, at the end of the day,
Listen,
I
wait,
want to get
can
this
we-
information,
no.
but really, until I get
Okay.
you all under oath,
We all,
swearing to this stuff, it's all kind of meaningless. I know, all
Okay.
right?
that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay too.
So what is the motion?
All right, so the motion,
Just a second.
okay,
We need a correspondence with Russ Perino and Carol McMorro.
okay. We're trying to make a motion, everybody's interrupting me.
This way, everybody can
Right.
get the information
Well,
that supposedly
All
exists.
right, can I make a motion now?
You're gonna find nothing.
Mario, can I make a motion now? Can we move forward? Take a vote?
Listen, the
All right,
motion's
so-
so easy to make, but actually
I'm
producing...
trying to make the motion, everybody's talking over me. All right,
I need a second.
We don't have the motion.
Right.
We don't have the motion.
the motion is, right, to provide Mayor Kranjak and Bill Wu with communications between the council members and the professionals that are related to affordable housing.
From November 2018 to the present.
Correct, from November. And in addition to, we would like correspondence from you and Bill and Carol and Russ Perino
You can have it.
from everything from 2016 to date.
You already have it.
We don't. So I don't have anything as far as the prior subcommittee that you appointed for affordable housing. So
You can have my email, it's not a
Okay,
problem. I can't
well-
speak for Russ or for Carol, because I don't
But-
control their emails, okay?
What do you mean? You're on the emails together.
Hold on a minute. The emails are borough documents.
Okay, so emails are borrowed documents, so there you
Ellen,
go.
just make sure this is accurate. We need 800 Sylvan's attorneys, right?
We're affordable housing.
All of it, okay? And
Our affordable housing.
Yeah, we can't ask them to come up.
whatever correspondence we have, we need it, right?
Right.
So whether it's
So
between
now,
our attorney,
again-
their attorney.
Right.
That's not the motion on the
That's not the motion on the floor.
Motion amended.
I
could
would've
only have
came
the
prepared,
vote
I would've came
for what I
prepared with the motion written out, so you
Alright.
can all look at it, right? Rather than just
I'm
doing it
writing
ad
it
hoc.
down right now. This is,
Well, actually, this is all a game, actually, so...
I'm
guys,
trying to offer, my last token of niceness to leave, and now this is you doing this.
Look,
Yeah.
let me just, can I read the back of the motion?
Sure.
This is what I have. Correspondence between the current council members and affordable housing professionals from November 2018 to the present. Correspondence from, I guess it's Russ Perino. I don't know. If you can't hear me, then probably not. Is it on now? Can you hear me?
It's on, we gotta be close.
The red light's on. Correspondence from Perino, Mayor Kranjak, Councilman Wu, former Councilwoman Carol McMorro, and any affordable housing professionals.
Right. From 2016 to present.
all right, and then also all...
Because you want transparency, right?
Well,
So
yeah, that's fine.
You have to also provide
But I
that.
also want the emails between our attorneys and Normandy's attorneys.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I am a client. I am a
That's not part
client.
of the motion.
No, it should be.
We don't have, I'm not
Well,
gonna,
because you're gaming this,
this is
right?
not gaming. We don't even have that, we don't have those communications.
If you don't have it, what are you worried about? Just put it in the motion.
You're gaming this, right? Because those are the
I need a
communications,
second.
look, folks, we don't know what our
Yeah,
lawyers
right.
told the
Yeah.
other side.
Just to get the ball rolling here, I second the motion. Everybody vote. Oh, you don't have to vote, we have to vote. So,
Yeah. So now he's gonna go tell him what to say. Right? This is right. Because I didn't walk over.
We're
Yeah.
open about what we're asking to be on there, so what's the
Yeah,
issue?
so,
Take a vote, please.
Look, you know,
take a roll call, please.
you guys have had a month to produce things, and you
Yeah, I
haven't done
know.
anything, so
Sure.
it's a shame.
Councilpersons Wu,
We'll start there. Yes.
Sung,
yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
Can you repeat the motion one more time, Borough Attorney?
Correspondence,
No, it should be written, right?
I have,
Should be
I'm gonna
Bring over the written
Borough
document.
Council has
It's
it.
on the record, and I'm going to read what I read before. I'll read it again. I know it was hard to hear in here at some points. All correspondence between current council members and the affordable housing professionals from November 2018 to date, and correspondence, this is borough control correspondence, so we have email addresses, okay, of Mr. Perino, Mayor Kranjak, Councilman Wu, and former Councilwoman McMorro, between them and affordable housing professionals from 2016 to the present.
Look, when you leave here tonight, that's the resolution or motion, but just leave here tonight knowing that we wanted to understand what our attorneys did, what communications they had with Normandy, with Fair Share Housing. This is important. Under this motion, we're not going to get that, okay? They're still hiding things from you, okay? And they heard you loud and clear already. I asked the public, just keep it up. You guys are doing great, because we're going to get to the bottom of this. The other thing I want to have the ability to have a new planner come in and help us plan for a solution to our problem. And I discussed this in closed session. I won't get into details, but we have the ability to solve our own problem, but there's been this resistance by the Democratic majority in this council and by the professionals, in particular Al Wunsch, okay? He's their blocker. He won't do anything. They'll tell him about this resolution tonight, and he'll just say, "Oh, it can't be true," as if though he was elected to anything, all right? I need to work with professionals who will work with me and with the borough. I need to have someone who can do this with us. Okay. So I'm waiting for a motion to do that.
So what's the motion? We don't...
The motion is to let us retain a professional to assist us
Yeah,
in
what
planning.
costs and
in-
who is it? And there's so many details.
There are a lot of details. This is all the stuff you guys should have been doing for the last 10 months.
You're giving the public a small amount of information. It's so much more difficult.
You'd be surprised how much information our public has and how smart they actually
This
are.
just came up today.
Shockingly, I know, but you'd be surprised.
Estrada has done a very good job at planning.
Estrada has done what you told them to do.
Mayor, I'll make that motion, for us to retain a professional to work, to continue to develop a plan for us to satisfy our obligations, under our own terms. And that professional could be a planner, it could be a developer, or anything, any professional the council sees fit.
Have a second?
Way too broad.
All right, there's no second. So the public and people at home watching this, you see that they're not willing to even try to find a solution. I'm giving you every opportunity to find a solution.
Let me just say one thing. I don't oppose the idea, but it was brought up just literally today. I want to talk to the mayor about this more before we decide on a motion.
Let's have a recess. Let's go talk.
Right now.
Right now. We're in recess.
Mayor doesn't get to talk.
I don't mean to... Well, that's not wasting. That's, how's that wasting? It's gonna cost...
Okay, wait till your taxes go up next year.
There's no,
Not coming?
Not tonight, come on.
No? We're doing it right now.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Stop being a bully, Mayor.
We're
Come
in
back.
trial, and the judge is going to make a decision in a month. And I'm asking you...
Less than a month.
Well, the
And so you want me to make a rash decision tonight? Is that right?
No. We have a planner who is working on the plan. Mayor, you're talking about trying to find somebody. We don't have time for that. We need to work with our planner, who is more than
We need to work
capable.
with the planner.
They should have been here today.
The residents don't have the information that we have. So, well, actually, I do believe that we should be sharing with you. So, the reality is that this planner has worked on it, and that there has been... Mayor, please sit down. Please sit down.
Get back to your seat.
Please sit down.
With you.
Please sit down. You share too much, which is why we're in the situation we're in. You keep...
Situation, because we signed the
Not
MOU.
doing us any good
Jimmy,
at all.
you wanted to talk to me. I am available right now.
I'm not saying right now. You're putting on a show. Come on. You could do it
Yeah.
tomorrow. You literally talk to us like
You know
Chris
If you don't get back to your seat, I bang on the
I
gavel
know
and
you'd love to be Mayor Glory, but...
go forward with the meeting.
Look, Jimmy,
Mayor, I'm giving you an invitation. Call me tomorrow, Friday,
Jimmy,
to talk about it. We don't do it right now. We're not doing it right now.
Very tolerant, they'll give us 10 minutes even. Let's go, Mayor.
Come on.
I'm not doing that. Sorry. No, but like I said, I don't object to what you said.
Listen, we're gonna waste more time.
How you doing?
Now he's bullying you.
You don't go home and call to somebody and tell you what to do.
No, listen.
Right now.
Listen.
Bill, listen. Bill, what is the motion, though? You wanna hire...
Listen. No one controls me except my wife, okay? So no one controls, all right?
All right, so, let's move on. This isn't gonna happen.
Good showmanship, huh?
All right. No, it's not showmanship.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
being practical.
Yeah, it is.
We have a month before a judge completely destroys this town, and I said, Jimmy, come and talk to me, and he said, no, I'm not gonna talk now.
Not during the,
And you didn't
not
do
during the
anything to the
meeting.
judge that hates you so much.
Judges shouldn't hate, okay?
Let's go.
The judge I feel bad for the judges, by the way, because they should not be in the position that they're in, having to plan municipalities, right? This is not for judges, this is for the legislators, and they're not willing to do it. So
Right,
the
but
judges-
based on what you told
the
us
judges-
tonight, this is not gonna change anytime
the
soon.
judges ended up getting involved because they were forced to, but they don't want to be doing this either. So I feel sorry for the
Agreed.
judges. All right, so, I expect some information from you all. Absent that, I guess we'll just have to take some depositions under oath. All right?
Okay, let's
Vice
go.
versa.
So, yeah, I'm happy to talk to these
Yeah, I
guys.
know.
That's always a great report, but at the same time, I'm very proud of what we accomplished. And we could have finished this project properly. So, let's open to the public. Can I have a motion to open?
Just want to make sure everybody understands, some of the residents complained last week that we make sure we adhere to the 5-minute time limit. So I'm going to ask everyone to be respectful of the time limit. Don't make us have to yell and make a big scene, but please, 5 minutes. Everybody gets the same amount of time.
Personally, I don't care how long this
I know you don't care, Mario, but we have rules, and we're going to follow the rules.
Those are your rules. How did that work out for you?
They're in the bylaws.
Not my personal rules, but I do enjoy them.
Listen, I want to hear from the residents. I don't want them to feel pressured or rushed.
That's
I
okay,
will stay
there's
here
a
till 3 in the
5-minute
morning,
limit.
okay?
Please be respectful of the time. Thank you.
Well, saying that, can we have a motion to...
Make
So moved.
Second.
Have a second.
Second.
Kevin,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
All right, so if there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard, please raise your hand. Let me call on you. Come up to the desk here, sit down, and state your name and address and whatever you want to talk about. Yes.
Lauren Eastwood, Four-Wheeler Drive. First of all, I am really disturbed that the residents' voices still don't seem to be heard. We had an election a month ago in which Councilman Wu and Mayor Kranjak and their running mate were elected by very large margins. I understand that earlier this week you were presented with recall petitions signed by over 1,200 residents. But yet the mayor still isn't getting information. Nobody seems to be listening to the residents. And you are supposed to be representing us, and I don't know who you're representing, but it certainly doesn't seem to be the residents. As for emails with Mayor Parisi concerning affordable housing, I don't know why you're fussing about giving them to the mayor, because those, if it's on affordable housing, those are operable. And I will be putting in my Oprah request tomorrow, for them. So they're not a secret. You can't keep them secret. If you're discussing borough business and you're a council member, it's an Oprahable item. That brings me to my next point, Oprah lawsuits. You're up to, how many have you lost so far this year? I think you're up to 9. I really would like this council to get your lawyer under control. Judge Farrington has made it crystal clear that she expects Vaughn indexes, and that she is going to order Vaughn indexes every time an Oprah case is in front of her. So it seems to me that one way to control litigation costs, even if it reduces the amount Mr. Marinello takes home, is to produce raw indexes when you're withholding information on grounds of privilege. She's been crystal clear about that. So why, instead of waiting to get sued and waiting to have to pay the requester's legal fees and Mr. Marinello, so that Judge Farrington can tell you for a 10th time that you need to produce Vaughan indexes, why don't you just produce Vaughan indexes? The only one who is benefiting from the present situation is Mr. Marinello. And Mr. Wunsch, yes, Mr. Wunsch too. That brings up another issue. I am a avid reader of e-courts, and I encourage everyone to Google e-courts civil jackets and start reading on the Englewood Cliffs cases because they're very interesting. One of the things I've recently noticed is Mr. Wunsch representing borough vendors to quash subpoenas in a lawsuit against the borough. I don't understand how Mr. Wunsch can be representing both the borough and the vendors. I don't understand how he could be filing motions to quash subpoenas issued to vendors without council authorization. I was issued a subpoena in Lieutenant Tracy's lawsuit against the borough. I thought it was frivolous and it was quashed. But it was quashed by my lawyer at my expense, not the borough's lawyer at the taxpayer's expense. If Cameron Arabi, who does business as Intrep Solutions, or Mark Ruderman, who is the borough's labor lawyer, wants their subpoena quashed, they need to have their own lawyer at their own expense quashing their subpoenas. There is absolutely no reason for borough taxpayers to be paying to quash their subpoenas. And I have real concerns about a lawyer who is representing both sides of the case, borough vendors and the borough. Police officers.
Just don't understand. What side are the vendors on?
The vendors are third-party witnesses in this case, apparently. They're not defendants, they're not plaintiffs. They're outside witnesses. But Mr. Wunsch, if they want their motions quashed, he's representing the borough. These are borough vendors. Their argument, if there's a contract dispute or something else, they're not on the same side of the table. And what's more, why is he moving to quash third-party subpoenas? Let them get their own lawyers if they want them quashed. Why are the taxpayers paying for this? It's ridiculous.
I'm sure I know what she's referring to. Do you? Joe?
I know the case. It's I believe, a case that's a JIF case. It's not being handled by my office, so I'm not that familiar with.
McMorrow versus the Browning. Carol McMorrow versus the Browning.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with it, and I'm not that familiar with the subpoena issue. I know it existed. I knew that subpoenas were issued, but I'm not that familiar with the specifics of the motion.
Well, they're all on e-courts, and you have better e-courts access than I do.
No, you get the same, we all get the same access, Lauren.
Okay. Thank you for being respectful to the time, Mrs. Lee.
Stop patronizing me.
Oh, don't worry, I know. I'm just being fair.
Andrew Chen, 22 Sarah Hill Lane. I just want to talk about, Mayor wanted a motion to have a new planning professional that Mr. Wu has wanting to have a motion. So my question is, do we currently have someone who does this job?
We do.
Yes.
Michael Mistretta is doing the work, supporting the litigators in that trial.
So he's having a plan to build all affordable housing, 100% affordable housing planning, or?
He's the person that helped us initially do the Hudson Terrace plan.
Right.
And then he's also the person assisting with the litigation to oppose Normandy. But there's been a resistance to actually work with me and with William as a governing body. He's only taking direction from the others on this council, just like our lawyers. So we're looking for a way to solve our problem, and we don't feel that we could do it with him since he's not willing to work with us. So I need this council to actually, as a governing body, direct people to find other ways to solve our problem. And they're not willing to do that. And that's cutting to a chase, everything, right? That's the issue.
That's how he sees it.
Well, then why don't you have a motion, which I asked you to do?
Because I don't agree with you. I think that Mr. Mistretta is doing a good job, and I think that he's been in here, and we have talked about what other options are available. I mean, do you really want me to go into detail about our litigation right here? Because I can do that. You just give the little pieces. I mean, there is nothing that can be dictated by three people on this council.
Well, the resident has a
To
good
the
point.
attorneys, okay? The attorneys take direction from the governing body as a whole. So anything that's happening has been voted
Right,
on
and that's why
by the
they
governing
instructed the
body.
attorneys not to share any information with William and me. number
No,
one.
actually, the court's
And number
instructed.
two, you could actually, to
Instructed that.
the residents,
So-
to the residents' thought, you all as a council could now actually direct Mr. Mistretta, who's our planner, to work with us to create a plan.
But of course, he's always worked with us.
Yes, not just
He's
with you.
always worked with you.
He does not.
He's been here at every closed
That's not
session
true.
meeting. We've been here
No, no,
together.
He's been here, we've talked
Just
about...
to be
adding
clear,
to the
they
plan.
refuse to work with William or me.
That's
When we go
not
to closed
true.
session, yes, they talk to us, but they
That's
don't
not
take
true.
any direction from anyone.
I want to make
not
this
true.
very clear, right? So I've seen July 10th, the proposal, the settlement, that's 400 units, and but 20% is affordable housing, only 80 units, right? Do the math. The Hudson Terrace plan is 77 units. Everybody knows which is more beneficial to us, to the people in the town, right? So
Tell her about the 70.
the affordable housing issue makes us really, really, like, I'm here, sitting here, listening to everything, I'm angry about it. I'm so angry, because you guys are not doing the best job to benefit us, the people in this town. That's my feeling, right? So I'm sitting here and, oh my God, the mayor is not getting the information he demands, and then he has to sue the township, and then the township has to pay the legal fee in order to... You guys have to work together. Last year, I was in the council meeting, I said, I hope all the council members and the mayor unites that to save this town. I said a year ago. I still, for a year have passed by, I haven't seen anything like that. Right? You guys have to unite. Share the information and work out the best plan for this town. Not to accuse each other, okay? It's our tax money, and we just want the best for us, okay? For everybody.
You're not being told the truth. Please, I don't want you to be angry, but you don't have the full picture. The 77 units is not viable, okay? The number most recently talked about in the courts is 153 units, okay? So, but that doesn't guarantee us that Normandy doesn't get to build. Our number as a town is 584 units. So technically, if we can build 584 units, we can take care of our obligations.
Yeah, but
So
the
it's a lot more
Normandy...
difficult than what you've been led to believe
Right,
it is.
but the Normandy settlement plan only give us 80 units as well, right? Only 3 more units than the 77 Hudson. If you think the 77 Hudson Terrace plan doesn't work, why would make you think the settlement with Normandy will work, right? I saw all the long signs saying keep Sylvan corporate, right? I think you guys have to work out a plan to keep that corporate, okay?
Okay. So I'll ask the council again for a motion to instruct the planner to work with William and me and the council.
Well, to work with all of us, Mayor, okay? But to work with all
Keep
of us.
playing games. I'm asking something clear. Instruct them...
He's never stopped
No,
working with
don't
you.
interrupt me. Instruct them
No,
to work
don't
with us.
scream at me,
Because
Mayor.
quite frankly,
Don't scream
we're
at me.
tired of you.
That- you're
Okay?
bullying.
All you do is you play these games. You have the ability right now
Can I-
to instruct them to work with us.
Can I make a motion, Mayor,
They have
to
always
dissolve the Mount Laurel Subcommittee?
I support that.
I think we should dissolve that. I mean, if you want the whole council, if you truly want the whole council to work with this?
You could have
Let's
been on
resolve
it. You could have been
Let's
on it.
resolve it.
You
Let's
refused.
resolve it and work on it as
You
a whole
refused.
council. Okay, let's work on the issue together as a council. And the way to do that is to dissolve it.
Make a committee.
I'm making a motion to dissolve this subcommittee, the Mount Laurel Subcommittee.
Point of order? So here's, I could listen to Angela and listen to what she said, and I've heard her come up here a couple times. This is the problem. This is where the people are misinformed. So the problem is that 77 units and the 80 units combined may solve the problem, but not alone. That's our problem. Right, so just building 77 units, and the mayor's correct about one thing. If we can find a solution to build 156 units, not 152, not 153, the court said the number is 156, and that still may be higher. But right now...
That's what the master said.
Units, right. If we can find a solution to that, 156 units, then we want to have the right to cure ourselves. We've all said that all along. The problem is, don't shake your head, just listen. The problem is that there's no guarantee that we build those units and Normandy still doesn't get allowed to build their 80 units. That's the concern.
Right, but if you do nothing,
I understand.
if you do nothing,
I understand.
it's a self-fulfilling
So
prophecy.
That is the catch, right? And there's no guarantee that we're not going to be forced to allow Normandy to build anyway. So what the mayor's proposing, and I think we all agree, that we're trying to find a solution to either build our own or satisfy it in whatever way we need to on our own. But that's not as easy as just saying, we're going to do it. We need to acquire land, find land, acquire land, or figure out a way. And I don't disagree that, with Debbie, that our planner has presented those choices to us. I do disagree with the mayor in the fact that they haven't been trying. Because for 2 years, I've been in there saying that I'm not going to agree to anything unless we can guarantee that Normandy's not going to be allowed to build, and no one could do that. And that's the biggest concern, that we do all this work, spend all your tax dollars, and Normandy still gets to build. That's the trump card that nobody seems to, it doesn't resonate with everyone. And that's something we all need to comprehend.
But while you sit here and do nothing, you know it's going to happen. You know we're not going to be able to solve our own problems. But I'm saying, at least try to solve your own problem. Hire a planner, if it's Mistretta or someone else, to say, hey, we need 153 units with the credits that are available, or 156, whatever the new number is in the court, 143. And then tell us how much it's going to cost, and then we could tell the public, we have A and we have B. Which one do you guys want to do? All right? But the way this is happening right now, you're not doing that, though. So, all I'm saying to the council is, do something. Don't just sit here like lemons, okay?
Nobody's sitting like lemons.
Yeah.
Let's move on. You're being ridiculous.
That's not the answer, Debbie. Let's
It
just
is.
move on.
It
It's not
is.
the
We have
answer.
to move on because you just continue
You
to
could, right now,
lie
as a
to the
council,
public.
right now, as a
You just
council,
continue
you
to
could
lie.
abstain.
You have no numbers. You did
All
no,
I'm
you
saying
did
is
nothing until I came on.
authorize
You
the
never had
planner.
any numbers done, and we came in and we did that, and you know what it costs now to build the 77. The number in
That's
there
fine.
is going to be more. I mean, you have to tell the public the truth of what it's going to cost them to build.
The people
And
in this
then
town
you have to
are
let
very
them
bright.
know that there's still a very good chance that we appeal, that we're not going to get to build our
Right,
own.
you're saying this, but you know, if
Right?
you just sit here
So,
and do nothing,
we're
you're
not
going-
sitting and doing nothing.
You're not
How
doing,
could you say that?
you're not letting us actually go and ask our planner to develop
That's
an
not
alternate
true.
plan.
That is not true.
Well, I don't have any information on this,
That's not
folks.
true. That's not true.
Well, by the way,
Well, you know what, why don't we call the planner in?
Absolutely true.
you have the ability right now to pass a motion to authorize the planner to look at other options for us to satisfy our problem. And while you all sit here and talk about it, no one's willing to do anything about it.
It doesn't have to be a resolution. I don't
It
understand.
does.
He has never not
It does,
done
because it's controlled
anything.
by the Mount Laurel Subcommittee.
All right, that's it.
Point of order, Mayor. Councilman Wu keeps going back to the Mount Laurel Subcommittee, and he wants to dissolve the committee so badly. However, I do want to remind the public that he was offered to be on that committee, and he has declined.
It was a good
So-
political move.
Well, it was brilliant, because otherwise he would have been on a committee with you all throwing the town away.
Right, and now he's asking for information that he could have freely had before, and now you're saying something else.
He's still entitled to it. I think we should handle it as a council as a whole. He's
But
still entitled to
again,
it.
the subcommittee was appointed by you.
He's still entitled.
And the subcommittee is to protect the town from you sharing everything on your emails
You
with
guys did
everybody else.
such a great job protecting the town. Any more protection and we'll be part of another state, okay?
So,
Oh, please. Can we please move on?
No, I want a motion to permit us to look for alternative ways of solving the
We don't
problem
do that.
with our planner.
We can talk to Ms. Retta. I'm not gonna do a
No,
motion
but
to hire
but
somebody
the
else.
Strider won't talk to me because you've instructed them not to talk to me.
why don't, okay, so I'll make a motion.
And that's just an outright lie.
I'm not leaving here till I have a motion that can save this town.
That you could save this town?
As a member of the subcommittee,
All right.
have him come in and talk to us at the next meeting. That's-
No, it's too long.
No, we should do this.
You can't wait a month.
We can't wait. We can't wait.
Nah,
They should have been here
2
tonight.
weeks.
Right, it's 2 weeks. We can do it this time.
Look, honestly, if that's your approach, then
Yes.
at least 4 of you should just resign right now, okay? Because this is ridiculous.
Stop being political.
It's ridiculous. No, listen, you guys, you try to tell the public, yeah, we're cooperating, then they'll leave here, they won't do a thing.
That's not
But
true.
what about you, Mayor? You tell the public one-sided story, you don't give them the full picture, and you never had
I tell the public what I know.
Full picture.
And now you're pointing fingers at us, that we didn't have a plan. So what was your plan? How were you gonna save and stop 800 Sylvan?
The plan was to develop the project that we had on Hudson Terrace. There were other properties that we were looking at to expand on and satisfy our number. It was very simple until you all, for whatever reason, decided to try to settle.
At what cost, though? You don't talk about...
You know,
how much-
here's the
how
thing
much
about our
taxes
town.
are
Yes,
gonna
it
go
would
up.
cost a lot of money, and unfortunately, this is the
How
law.
much money was
Hold
that
on.
thing?
This is a...
100 million,
Let me
200
finish.
million, what number are we talking
Hold
about?
on, let me finish. So here's the thing, folks, hold on. Folks, listen, we understand it's going to cost money, and we also understand it's a law that none of us created, none of us like, okay? But at least our residents should have the right to know how much will it cost to build this project on our own versus, doing something with a high-density project at 800 Sylvan.
Oh, we
And that's the thing
get
that...
a number.
No, you didn't do it. You didn't do
We
it.
did.
Just show it to me.
Right?
Show it to me.
We discussed it in there with Ms. Shredder about your 77 units. If you take that number and double it, I would think that's the number, right? A ballpark number.
Sorry,
You're
it
talking
doesn't work
about
that
moving
way.
the police station.
No, I'm not talking about that. No, that wasn't...
That's
Look,
in the 77.
I need to present a number to the town. And the only way I could do that is to have a proper professional work with us to do that. Okay? And I don't want it filtered for you, Ms. Sabari, okay? I just want to have the right to exercise my power as mayor to be able to educate myself and advise the town what we should do. Because this is a smart town.
No, we have to work...
Hold on, let me finish. It's a smart town. If you give the town a number and say, here's the number, here's how we're going to finance it, at least we know how much it's going to cost over the next 20 years. But if we do your project, we are going to be paying for infrastructure and for schools forever, okay?
What do you mean, my project?
It's your project. You were the one who signed the MOU, okay?
You know what, you're just being ridiculous. It's so out of control with you. Why don't you start by educating the public as to what our obligations are? You didn't do it with the 77
Way,
either.
and you can present whatever, you can ask them all the questions you want, how's that?
January 3rd, right? That's done
The judge is making a decision on January 12th, okay? So this enables you to actually burn up all of 2019.
Burn it up for what?
You're burning this...
together. What is he gonna do, show up tomorrow and come up with a plan? You need to give him time to do something.
Yeah.
Been doing this all night. Hanging out,
He's
bonbons.
litigating.
No, he's not. He's in the courts presenting the 77, and he's fighting for this town that the 77-unit plan is enough. Now, obviously, it's not if the number is 156. But he is fighting for us, and when the number is decided upon on January 12th, because that's what the decision will be on, then we'll have to appeal. So when we appeal, we need to know where we're going to find this land and what it's going to cost. And that's what we're talking about. And Ms. Strutter is more than capable of doing this. with Bob Powell, who works on the numbers as to what it would cost.
That's the same guy who said that people who live in a one-bedroom aren't going to have children, by the way. Look, here's the thing, guys. When you appeal, you need to go into that appeal having shown that you actually tried to solve your problem. But if you just show up in that appeal without a plan B,
Well, you know that because your attorneys have made you aware of that too. It's not like your attorneys
well, then why are you
haven't been telling
unwilling,
you that.
why are you unwilling to actually move to the next level? Who's controlling
Who
you
says
people?
I'm unwilling to move to any next...
controlling
Okay,
you?
Mario,
We'll tell him.
you know what, we're gonna move on because we're wasting time now.
Sit with all of us, we can ask them whatever they want.
So folks, here in the public and at home, when your elected officials can't make decisions up here on their own, that means that someone else has to tell them what to do, okay? So they need to go home tonight and have a meeting tomorrow, and so that whoever they can answer to is going to tell them what to do. Because they're not willing to do the very logical thing at the moment that we're here right now.
Well, I'm telling you, what else do you want to know? Do you not want to meet with Mr. Strata, or do you? Yes or no?
I want to meet with Ms. Strata.
There you go.
But I want to have the right to talk to Ms. Strata
You can
to
talk.
tomorrow.
You can talk.
And direct him, and direct
You
him.
can't direct them without all of us.
Well, then we'll all get on a call.
You're not a king, we can get all directed.
Well, I realize I'm not a king, but I'm also a mayor trying to help the
I
town.
understand that, so we can move forward with the process.
So-
Let's stop the
so-
nonsense and get
Okay,
back to
can we please continue with the public?
I would like to see you all send an email to all our professionals saying the mayor has the right to all the information and to communicate with you.
You already passed.
But why do we need to do
You don't need to do that.
Because every time I do that, Al Wunsch comes back and says, whoa, no, I can't tell you anything, because the council told me nothing.
I think it's a very fair request, Mayor.
You can open whatever is operable, it's only if you're entitled to it. That's, I got it on, I can't, I don't do open, but, you know, whatever you're entitled to, you get.
Okay, can we call the next person, Mayor?
Listen, you know that's not my department.
What are you looking up now?
Okay, anybody else from the public wish to be heard?
There's a motion on the floor.
And it's not second.
No second, it's dead on the floor.
Nobody called for a second.
Have a second for that motion? Councilman Wu proposed? Going once, going twice. People, these are your elected officials, not doing what they should be doing because they need to get direction from whoever's controlling them.
That's not true.
I do what you
So let's
want.
move on.
That's a different. Now, anyone else wish to be heard?
Tim Katrubis, 54 Hickory Street. You know, I have to say, I'm really disappointed in all the council members up here. I never wanted any of this, okay? I don't see why anything's funny at all. I think a lot of times you're a little disrespectful, you know who I'm talking to. I think that, the public was pushed into this situation, okay? That's why we easily got 1,200 signatures on a recall. And I don't think that that's a laughing matter. It's actually a pretty shameful event. It really is. For the entire town, not just the council members. Because it's not easy to go door to door and try to explain to the public what's happening. While on the other side, our honest politicians are just blatantly lying. Blatantly lying. So I'd like to remind the Affordable Housing Committee, the 3 members, Ms. Park, you're an attorney, okay? Mr. Aversa, you're on that committee, and so are you, Ms. Sabari.
Yes, I am.
You have a fiduciary responsibility, which you breached. You breached it the moment you started lying to the public.
We're not lying.
Well, let me ask you a question then. Is there a settlement agreement?
No.
There absolutely is a settlement agreement. Okay? I can prove it right here, all right?
You've been
Albert
up
wants
with
us-
that before.
Say again?
You've been up here with that before.
Yeah, I know, so can I repeat it? Because you're telling me no, but Albert wants his...
Say what you like.
I'm just saying, Albert wants his email, which was written on April 30th, is saying before May 17th, so in less than 2 weeks, You must authorize the signing of the settlement agreement, and assuming that the court approves this settlement. So you're trying to tell me that no settlement agreement was ever written and you guys never knew anything about it?
A settlement agreement.
You know what, that's clever language for an attorney, but if I were to put you up on a stand, you'd probably perjure yourself.
Okay.
Yes, that's right, that's right, that's right.
30 years of practice, I've never had a violation. Him under there has, okay?
There's always a first for everything, there's always a first for everything.
I've had no
There's always a first for everything. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm simply stating the facts here.
Okay?
There's
You should be
members
ashamed of yourself.
that should understand how you're operating.
Right.
On January 3rd, your first order of business was to fire the borough attorney. Am I mistaken? That was an unlawful event, because by law, the mayor should have had the attorney around for 30 days, but the trial started at the end of January. Had that attorney still been on, they would have blown the whistle, okay, and things would have been a lot different today. And you think, I'm sorry, the trial was supposed to start at the end of January, am I mistaken?
No, you're right.
The borough attorney, they would have blown the whistle, because they would have had a fiduciary responsibility for you to stand up. The whistle that you started a settlement agreement. The settlement agreement, are you trying to tell me that never happened? It never happened? You know what I'm talking about, Mr. Aversa, and the public here knows me as an individual, and they know that I know what I'm talking about, okay? These people are lying to you, and this whole thing is a sham, and that's all I have to
But I
say.
know a lot of residents have been lied to.
You know what, the whole thing with the recall is a sham.
Well, this whole,
You're not political, and you're in a free newspaper ad, right? With everybody in town.
Whoa.
And everybody else, and you're not political, right? Yes.
Don't threaten me, don't
Right.
threaten the Councilwoman.
Yeah, right.
right.
And I'm an attorney, correct?
Look, the resident's right.
no, he's wrong.
It's
We're not
shambolic
liars.
what's
We're not
happening
liars.
here.
And matter of
Shambolic.
fact, I know a lot of residents that signed that recall thinking it was an 800 Sylvan petition to stop 800 Sylvan.
Yeah.
And in fact, that was not what it was. So, you can walk out, but the reality is, that people signed that believing that it was a petition against 800 Sylvan, not to recall Ed and Gloria.
No.
You only get one time.
You still have time now.
No, he doesn't have time.
Can you please repeat that statement?
I'm saying, I have been approached by residents in this town that signed your petition, who said that they were told that it was a petition to stop 800 Sylvan, not to recall Gloria and Ed. That's a fact. That's a fact.
People will put their signature to that and not read. Are you alluding to the fact that I said something to that extent? Are you alluding to the fact that I said
It may
something
not
like
be you
that?
personally, it may be one of the people in your group,
Time's up, thank you.
but it was said.
Thank you.
No, it wasn't said.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. Then bring them forward. Bring them forward, because
They
by
will
you
come
saying
forward.
it, I cannot believe somebody who's been lying to us for the past
I
10
have
months.
not been lying
Bring
to
them
you.
forward. Bring them forward.
I have not been lying to you. I have not.
We came to my home.
Bottom of
They
it.
came to my home, and they campaigned on opposing residential at 800 Sylvan. You all have a fiduciary responsibility
There's
to
been
tell the
lies.
truth to the public.
There's been no lies.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You're grandstanding your
Why
lies.
are you running away? Why are
We
you
have
running
told the
away?
truth.
I delivered 1,200.
Well, you know what, we're gonna get to the bottom of those recalls. Yes.
Yeah. We will.
Get to the bottom of it.
We will.
All right, I think the resident did a fantastic job of pointing out the shambolic nature of this.
No, actually, it's just lies.
How about Shamsa?
Mary O'Shea, 12 Irving Avenue. Mrs. Sabari said that the whole council made decisions, yet at a previous meeting and previous comments, the Mount Laurel Subcommittee is the one who authorized Attorney Wunsch to settle and enter into a memorandum of understanding. So her statement that the whole council made that decision is not correct.
The council knew about the MOU.
Pardon me?
In session, we talked about it.
After it was
The
signed.
council was aware of the MOU.
After it
I'm
was
not going to
signed.
say any
Oh,
further.
that you were going to enter into an
You
MOU?
know, before...
No, we did not know
No,
we were going to enter into an MOU.
Yes, they
it
did.
had already been signed.
It had already, yeah, because it's
I'll
back,
take
back.
oath, take that under oath.
Right.
That's not true.
So that was not a correct statement by
Yes, it
Mrs.
was.
Tazari. No, it wasn't, among others. I'd like to know, what is the, where are we on the RDP in the trial?
Right now, there's, it seems the judge is pushing the special master, to reset the number at 156 from 143,
156.
going up from 143.
Actually, the judge hasn't pushed her. She actually recommended that it...
Right, and then the judge came back and said, you need to go and revise your report.
156, okay. So we had 55, then we're going to get extra credit, we were going to have 77. And in that proposal, I believe it was only 2 or 3 stories high, it was like 35 feet high over on Hudson Terrace. Yet, the planner was also making open spaces and, proper parking and everything for the people that would live in those units. Therefore, the people that would, the plan that would be put forth by Normandy would have to be comparable. It would have to be similar in height, it would have to have more open spaces and parking. Yet the plan that was put forth at that July meeting, I believe, and I don't have papers with me to refresh myself, I believe the apartments that were going to be for the affordable housing were 5 stories high in the front. So if we have the units on Hudson Terrace, if we wanted to go 5 stories high, I'm sure you'll get a lot more than the 55 and the bonus to 77. You're gonna double the space, so you would then have over 140 in my rough calculations and idea. I don't know. But Mistretta was trying to keep it low and open so that it would be an attractive place. I also believe that, it's very disgraceful that last month you all approved, except Ed, and I think Gloria abstained on the resolution to give the mayor and William
That's not true.
the documents. Did you abstain?
No, I voted yes.
Oh, you voted yes, okay. I couldn't hear you sometimes, you don't talk loud.
Councilman Aversa voted no.
He voted no, okay. So, a whole month went by, and not one piece of paper apparently went to William or the mayor, according to the resolution. And that is wrong. That is wrong. And any one of you could have sent your documents to the mayor and William. You could have, the Mount Laurel Subcommittee could have contacted Serenian, Mistretta, Wunsch, and Troutner, and whoever else was the other named people, and told them to please forward information that we've been discussing since November to the mayor, because the mayor is the head of the governing body in this town, and apparently the residents want the mayor to be in charge of the governing body in this town because they re-elected him for another 4 years. And you are trying to thwart him from being the head of this governing body by your actions. And I sat through meetings for years and years with Mr. Parisi Senior, with the son, okay, and they never had a council, whether the council was their council or opposition council, never had this type of actions, and never had the council be so disrespectful to the mayor and try not to have him be part of the decisions. And you're all totally out of line for it. I really have to say that. It's just not right. Just not right. And you really should amend your ways. And the other thing, with regard to the Oprah requests, I've been putting in Oprah requests, and I did have a lawsuit, which Mr. Marinello lost. I'm going to keep talking, and Mr. Marinello lost. And part of the problem is, because part of the problem is that Lizette goes through Mr. Marinello before she makes and releases anything. So he gets the bill on the releases, and then he tells her what to release. Then when it's not accurate and it goes to court, he has to go to court to defend it. And then she orders a loan index because of the redactions. And we have to pay. As taxpayers, we're paying Mr. Marinello going around in circles because they don't give the information. And your clerk should be riced for all these lawsuits that she's not giving the proper information out.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay, and she was only acting administrator. When are you going to put out an RFQ for a new administrator?
Thank you, Mary. So there's just one comment.
Anybody?
So, please be respectful of the time, everyone, please don't make us do that. And Mary, to answer one of your, statements about Mistretta, why he put it low and it wasn't for open space, it's to keep density to a minimum. The more we put on one spot, the more they get to put on 800 Sylvan.
Well, but 800 Sylvan's got 5 stories, that's
Well,
what they put.
but it goes by acreage. So if we say that we're only gonna put 20 units per acre, then they can only put 20 units per acre. But if we put 40 units per acre on a site, they get to put 40 units per acre on a site. So that's what I'm trying to explain. It's a lot more, complicated than we'd all like it to be. But that's the way it goes.
Actually, it might not be. Councilman Wu, do you want to comment on that?
I would say if the amount we need to settle, to satisfy is 156 units, and we build up and increase our acreage and we get to 156, then we never have to get to the question of the developer having to have the same, density.
Right, so
Thank you.
acquire land, as I said before, acquire land, and you can keep the density at, we get 20 units per acre as we're trying.
That's putting the pressure again on the developer, right, in their builder's remedy suit. If we tell the judge, they say 156, and we go to a spot on Hudson Terrace where we can go higher, not above the tree line, I'm confident that we can get to 156, just by tweaking plans that we worked on before. It doesn't take much, and we're just asking for a meeting so that, we're in a time crunch here. The mayor mentioned, in early January, there's going to be a ruling. Every day counts. We got to get back in there with something for our professionals. And they only take direction from the Mount Laurel Subcommittee right now. That's a fact.
That's not true. But
That is true.
the reality is there's more than just the Normandy issue on the table right now, right? Okay, so we're also deciding the unmet need. So it's about all the overlay zones, which are up and down Hudson on the west side.
I understand.
Okay, Palisade Avenue. And once you increase the density for us, they're going to want to increase the density for all the overlay zones. So right
That's
now,
one
we're
of many-
currently
that's
at
one of many
20
options.
units per acre. So, you have to look at the big picture, because it's not just about Normandy, okay? That's the small part of it. Then we have the overlay and the unmet need, which is a very big part of what this judge is going to decide. If we will appeal, right? And we will appeal to build our own. And at that point, again, Fair Share Housing has open game to what happens to the overlay zones. Currently, the master is recommending that they only be 3 stories high, and that it's 20 units per acre, okay, which was kind of along the plan, give or take. She stuck to the plan, and she added LG, the old LG site, to an overlay zone. So you really do have to put a lot of thought into what you build when you're building your own, because it's going to affect the decision on what happens in all the overlay zone. And that's the 584 units I'm talking about. And it opens us up to developers coming in on the overlay zone and putting residential there also. So, a lot of work has been done, and that's what Mistretta is trying.
I think we should bring our professionals in, and we as a council
I
should
agree that we should bring our professionals in.
make a best effort ASAP, and call a special meeting to have that and
We don't
discuss this.
disagree, and our attorneys have been asking.
So, I'm going to direct the clerk to send a note to all of our professionals reiterating exactly what Councilwoman Sabari just said, which is that the professionals don't just take direction from the subcommittee.
They've
Okay?
never just taken direction from the subcommittee.
They have.
That's not
They
true.
refuse to deal with us.
That's not true.
So, I'm going to ask the clerk tomorrow morning, first thing, send an email, copy me, copy Councilman Wu, directing them all to work with us, based on what Ms. Sabari, Councilwoman Sabari just said. Anybody else wish to hear?
You know what, we never, point of order, Mayor. We never told the professionals not to work with
Exactly.
you or Councilman Wu, so why would we have to
That's
tell
not true.
them to work with you?
So Tom Troutner, who's our litigation counsel, actually wrote, said, "I'm not allowed to give you information because the council doesn't authorize me to do that." Okay? You could look at that. I'll pull it out for you. I think it was end of August, beginning of September. So when I raised that, you all sat there and didn't say anything, right? But that's the truth of the matter. And you could sit there and try to lie to everybody, but I lived it. I know it. I've got the document.
And Gloria, I've written an email to Jeff Serenian before. He didn't reply to me. It came in back through Al Wunsch. So, you know, there hasn't been an effort to work directly on my side. And I have that in my email box.
Russell Perino, 220 Fairview Avenue. There's dysfunction amongst this council. I think it's obvious. The residents see it. You all should be seeing it loud and clear. Councilwoman Sabari, there's an email exchange that's on eCourts. It's from Jeff Serenian asking the judge if he can please revise the judge's order so that the Mount Laurel Subcommittee would be the party authoring the signature of the MOU. It was not. So the original order was that the governing body would be agreeing to this MOU. That was crossed out. First, there was a letter from Serenian asking the court if it would be okay if it was the Mount Laurel Subcommittee that would be signing off on that document. And the judge, let me finish, and the judge said it was okay. And you can see, it was crossed out, the wording was crossed out, that it would be the governing body, and changed to the subcommittee. So please, don't mislead this public and this council. Let me finish, and you can speak as long as you want. This is a document, if you don't believe me, I'll show it to you now. The MOU was authorized by the subcommittee. It was not this council as a whole. It's a fact.
The
So please
MOU
don't
was
argue with
discussed
me.
by this council as a whole in detail.
Then you should have voted
Detail,
it was
in
signed.
close.
Then why did you not have a vote?
Exactly.
After it was signed.
You could have had a vote in closed session.
That's
You voted on
not
it.
true. You sat there with the plans, you knew exactly what was going to be in the MOU. Yes,
So-
you did.
So that is as clear as the day is long. But to move on, I think what people really want to hear, and what I want to speak to, is the bigger issue, right? And how we got there is, I brought up last month, for those members of the public that weren't, I'll briefly recap. Yeah, we're in a rabbit hole now, right? And the fact that the 77 unit wasn't going to be enough units is no surprise to anyone. It was never meant to be the end of the road in terms of that's what we were going to need. It was a reasonable number that was suggested by our professionals, agreed upon by Michael Mastretta. It was a reasonable number to present to the court. We would have expected to have had, and even Judge Farrington mentioned in her decision when she revoked our immunity, that we would have had the right to cure the shortfall, whether that's a shortfall of 77 more, or 20 more, or whatever. It didn't matter. We would have had that right. So there was a strategy in place through the end of last year that if it had continued on, and we had a trial at the end of January, the beginning of February, we would have heard then what we're hearing now about there being more units being required to satisfy our RDP. That's not a question. It never was, at least for those that were involved in the process back then. The mention of the 584 units, there's no community, I don't think, in the state that is expected to meet that number. So I suggest not throwing the number out there, because it's not something that is being looked at as a number that you need to get to via RDP or unmet need. It's something that the municipalities know that it's there. There's no expectation from many professionals that I've ever talked to that it's going to happen. So I think that's something that's a bit of fear-mongering for the members of the public.
That's not true.
Well, that's my own opinion. I'm entitled to it.
You are.
You cannot tell me what I'm saying is not true. It's my opinion, and you don't get to say it's not true. I think it is.
I'm not.
I'm entitled to my opinion. So the rabbit hole was being excavated now that we find out, starting in November of last year, right? And that hole's gotten deeper and deeper, culminating in the collapse of 5,000 some odd residents into the rabbit hole in August when we lost our immunity. No one's talking about that here tonight. The big difference from what our plan was and what the expectation was to where we are today is we no longer have immunity. It opens us up to a builder's remedy lawsuit. What that means is now Normandy may get site-specific relief to build an 800 Sylvan Avenue without us having the right to cure. So for the residents, and I'm sure the members of the council I know understand this, but I think it's necessary that it be brought to the attention. So how do we get out of this rabbit hole? Councilwoman, I'm sure whatever you're looking at on your phone is more important than what I'm saying. But you made a comment about, okay, Mayor Kranjak, tell us how you're going to stop 800 Sylvan. He didn't put the town in its place. The Democratic administration that took office in January of this year caused us to lose our immunity. That's a fact. There's no question about it. So, I will just finish my thought. What you should be looking at is how do we get our immunity back again, right? And that is something that can be done, and I think you all know how you go about that without me putting it into words. That should be the primary focus. How do we get our immunity back to stop, not just this builder's remedy lawsuit? Every other property in this town is also, could be, an application could be made by a developer anywhere in town for a builder's remedy lawsuit, right? So that should be the primary focus here, in addition to the other items. I'm not saying they're not all important, they are, but that should be something that's being looked at. And I've offered my services and my advice and my experience probably 10 times in the past year. You refuse to take me up on it. You asked how do we work together? That includes all of you. It includes the planning board. We're there for a reason. What could possibly happen so terribly by inviting the chairman of the planning board to be part of a conversation? There's been statements made that there was no other plan. It's not true. The Hudson Terrace property is not the only property in this town owned by the borough. So one way is increasing the density somewhat on that site. There are other properties. There were other properties that were in a plan that preceding the plan that was provided to the court. Those members of the council that were here last year know what they were. And the members of the council said, well, wait a minute, we don't really want to do it that way. We want to do it this way. And that's fine. That was the council's prerogative. But don't say that that was the only plan, it was defective. It wasn't. There was a strategy in place from day one, right to the end of last year, when it was unfortunately abandoned. So that's my point for tonight.
Mayor, can I make a quick comment? Gloria Councilman Merrill brought up that I was invited on to the Mount Laurel Subcommittee. I don't know if everyone remembers, but at that time, I said, it's okay, I'm going to pass on that. However, I think Russell Perino is more qualified to be helping the Mount Laurel Subcommittee. And at that time, the council had told the public that Mr. Perino, we would allow Mr. Perino to participate in the meetings of the Mount Laurel Subcommittee. That never happened. And I think Russ is somebody who has the most experience on this issue. It's just sad that we weren't open-minded to that and allowed him to participate.
And I want to say something. So, Bill, when I spoke to you at closed session about being in the subcommittee instead of me, because I have a lot of other departments that I'm handling, at that time, did you not say yes?
You said, yes, I would be interested.
I did not
And
say
then,
yes.
yes, you did.
No, I
And then a
didn't.
week later, he changed his
No, I
mind.
didn't.
Right? And then here, on the dais, he said something else. And to be quite honest, all due respect, Mr. Perino, the reason why it was your planning board that rejected their application, and here we are. And so I understand we can agree to disagree, but that's why we're here, and that's why we're not gonna ask you to be on
Okay,
board,
so let's stop with the sound bites and talk
Okay.
about substance. Councilwoman
What I
Parker.
said with Russ was in public, right? So you're pulling something in closed session. I said that in public. You can check the tapes. It was there.
So I want to thank Mr. Perino for chairing our planning board, and for the other members, such as Mary, that are here on the planning board, and Ramon. I thank you for your service. And again, I will always say this, you made the right decision because you knew how dishonest Normandy was with their application, and for whatever reason, this council up here doesn't see it still. They're delusional. Anybody else?
Well, the planning board voted to have his plot of land subdivided 3 ways, right? You have 3 houses on the...
Where are you going?
The point is that you're not being truthful.
Where are you going with this?
My name is Nancy Yang, 79 Roberts Road. I have to say, this is the very first time I am attending a meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
Ning Yang, 79 Roberts Road. This is the very first time I'm attending a meeting like this in the town. And I have to say, I'm shocked. The way that you show disrespect to the mayor is actually viewed as disrespect to the residents. Because I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm just a citizen. We have a big case in trial. Time is essence. So this is second month the mayor was elected. And we are very anxious to know what plans he has, what actions, what strategies he is mapping out. This is the purpose of me coming here, but I see that he has no way of carrying out things. I see that he wants to resolve the situation, but I see a lot of resistance. And also people enjoying fighting here. That's such a disrespect to the town. So I think if some of you who have better interests in your mind than those of the citizens, maybe this is not a job that you should be doing. Also tonight, I think this meeting is very informative, at least to people like me. There are options, such as the gentleman just said, we have land. So why don't we explore those other options? And also the height of the buildings. That's just because we are thinking of, exploring height at Hudson Terrace, doesn't mean that we are inviting all the developers, because that's going to, at least as I see it, resolve the problem of the immunity. We have to show to the judge something. And time is essence. But I see everybody else is enjoying fighting the mayor. I don't know why. If you really have better interests than those of the citizens living in this town, this may not be your job.
Thank you. Yes.
Maria Valari, 45 Jane Drive. With all due respect, Dr. Aversa, I think it's disrespectful to the residents of this town to limit them to 5 minutes on such an important issue. I think that is an insult to the people who really want to express themselves. It doesn't matter. It should be, it should matter when it comes to something as important as what's going to happen to this town. It will affect us all. Okay. Also, as far as the mayor is concerned, not one of you sent him any information at all? Last month, you decided to do that, and not one of it, doesn't matter what the rest of the stuff was there. You could have sent your own personal stuff to him, okay? So I don't know, obviously what this nice woman just said is that it's obvious that there's something underlying here. You don't want him to be successful, you have resentments against him, you don't like him, whatever that is, I don't care. I want you guys to work together, because it's my town that you're playing games with. I was talking to a friend of mine, and Cedar Grove is putting up affordable housing. They are putting 4 units per acre, not 20 to 25 per acre. In addition to that, the builders are building them a brand-new firehouse, giving them a brand-new fire truck, and they are renovating their playing fields. What are we getting for this?
Nothing.
What are we getting?
Nothing.
Ms. Sabari, what are we getting? High taxes? What are we getting?
What is deciding what we're getting?
No, I'm talking about what is the builder doing for this town for allowing you people to agree to these numbers? That's what I'm asking you. And I've asked this meeting after meeting. Somebody is benefiting from this, not the residents of this town.
Nobody up here is...
No, but someone is benefiting. I'm talking, someone is benefiting. I'm not accusing you, I'm not accusing anybody, but somebody is benefiting. Whether it is you, and you, okay? Okay?
Could be.
Or maybe it's, Otterstadt Savings, or maybe it's Connect One Bank. I don't know who's benefiting, but someone is benefiting from this huge deal right here.
That's a lie.
And you are not how do you know it's a lie?
It's a lie.
How do you know?
Because
You have
nobody
personal
is
information? Okay. So you're know-it-all, whatever, I've noticed that, but you're giving no information to us. I had read something about, I think it was, Ms. Park, you mentioned something about Mayor Kranjak and somebody suing him or other. I thought I read something that person is being sued for child molestation, so I would question that person's...
What does that have?
Okay, well, you accused him, I wanted to mention that. I wanted to clarify. Look, you're throwing mud at the mayor, who the town voted for.
Well, where did you read that? And what's the name?
It was for fraud. We're trying to, the allegations are that you started stealing your client's idea. It has nothing to do with child molestation.
There you go again. The campaign's over, you stop spreading those lies, okay?
Well, it's also on e-courts.
You're lying.
Just
You're
like
lying like
anything
always.
else.
You're lying. The other lie was the nasty guy moved to Florida. The other lie was that I lost my law license. It's like they tried everything. We still won, and you have to respect the fact that we won. And thank God it's a democracy, because, half of the people vote for you and half of them don't. But that means you all have to work together anyway, right? It's not like... Well, more than, thank you. But it's not like you can't go around saying, not my president or not my mayor. This is who the people elected. You're ruining the Republic of America, The whole country is being ruined because people don't want to accept the results of elections. It's crazy, right? The fact that you're in the council and I'm not a council member, I'm mayor, doesn't mean you get to not give me information. I don't have to negotiate with you or a judge. I shouldn't have to do that. You're a disgrace.
The other thing that I wanted to mention is that, at that meeting at the upper school, we already had a meeting with all our expert witnesses and all the people that are planning all this, and actually a lot of things came out that while they were working with the mayor and the then council, they changed their whole plan after you guys came into power, okay? And we actually had someone who brought up that the schools were going to get a lot of students, but then all of a sudden we're minimizing those amounts of people who have a one-bedroom, don't have children. I don't know what rock people are living under. There are one-bedroom apartments where you've got 3-4 people living in too, okay? So what I want to say is that the experts are taking their direction from you.
Exactly.
From you.
It's not true.
Exactly.
Okay? Because why would they change?
The numbers didn't change.
Of course they changed.
No, they did not change.
Time is...
She has another minute. She has another minute. I'm looking at the...
It's okay.
You know, about 6 minutes of it.
Well, because, and how many minutes were you guys talking? Okay, so thank you. I think Ms. Park and the mayor and Ms. Sabari took a lot of that time. But anyway, what I want to say is that I want to see people working to resolve this issue. And the only way we can resolve it is to give the court something. We haven't given them anything. And it's not, I'm sorry, it's not him. It's not me. It was the Parisi regime that didn't do anything. Anything. When did that law, does anybody know when that law came into effect?
1976.
Thank you. And what did we do since 1976?
Nothing.
We gave them zero. And now we, the people living here, have to suffer for whatever decision it was that they decided not to do the right thing by the affordable housing.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you. And we better fight for that immunity.
Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? Okay, I don't see anyone else, so we have a motion to close.
Second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's continue with the agenda. Payment of claims, Resolution 19-213, November 14, 2019 through December 11, 2019, $8,057,691.86. I object to anything being paid to Serenian, Harbor, Troutner, Wunsch, Chiesa, Special Master included, or Nassau.
So moved.
No, you have to make a motion.
I didn't make a motion.
Oh,
You
sorry.
can't make a motion.
I did not make a motion. Somebody else needs to.
I'm
make a
sorry.
motion.
Motion to
Approve the bill.
approve the bill last.
Need a second?
Second.
Councilperson Wu?
Sorry, could I make one comment on this list of bills? Al Wunsch on here, the way he lists his legal fees is very different from the other attorneys. He lists them invoice by invoice. There's actually no way to see how much he's billing for each month. The other attorneys are all providing statements each month. Obviously, they're all very large bills right now, given what we're going through. Is there a way to have Al change that?
Is he billing by case?
It's unclear because we don't know how old these bills are. All it has is a check number and the check date. So we don't know if these bills are...
That's how they all...
No, understood, but take a look at the other attorneys. Who's looked at this?
The
Anybody?
bills are...
The Serenian bill clearly says invoice for October, invoice for November.
That's how the finance department enters it.
Well, we can ask...
Can we
them
have
to
it as
change
one statement so we can clearly see how much we're spending with them?
I
Yeah,
could ask.
just a request.
It's actually separate checks, too. They're inside, actually, if you want to review them after.
Right, you can pull them, but I can
Okay.
ask finance, that's how they enter
Okay.
it.
Okay. No.
Sung,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
The resolutions, 2019. 2014, authorized mayor to sign USWA agreement. So, would the borough administrator please say a few words about what that agreement is?
sure, that is the, what some people call the white collared union employees. They're the ones that work in Borough Hall, and then there's two that work in this building. Everything remains the same from their original agreement from 2016. The only change is a 2% salary increase. And it's a 4-year agreement from 2019 to 2022. Everything else remains the same. Nothing extra.
Second.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Councilpersons Wu?
Yes.
Song?
Yes.
Sabari?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Aversa?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
DPW. Authorize mayor to sign Teamsters Union Agreement, Resolution 2015. It's the same thing. We went through negotiations, things were asked for, we denied them. They also have a 4-year agreement, and we settled on a 2% salary increase. Motion?
So move.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa.
Yes.
Next resolution is
Oh, you forgot me.
Oh, I'm sorry, who, oh,
Yes.
sorry, I apologize. Resolution 216, resolution to hire a new police officer. The first one will be Pete P. Rampersad. The name is not in the resolution because we discussed it in closed session, and we wanted everyone to be in unison and in agreement that these 4 hires would be accepted. Need a motion? Could you spell the name? Sure. R-A-M, P as in Peter, E-R-S-A-D, as in David.
R-A-N.
No, R-A, M as in Mary, P as in Peter,
Right.
E-R-S-A-D as in David.
And just to reiterate what I said at the caucus meeting, we are hiring 4 police officers tonight, and I support these hires. I've been assured that the proper process was followed. The chief represented that to me, and I'm comfortable with his representations and his choices, and the committee's choices, and I thank the committee for doing the work that they did on this. There were several exams involved. There was a written exam, there was a physical exam, a psychological exam, and a stress or medical exam. We started off with a pool of 59 applicants, that dwindled down to 51, then to 21, then to 10, then to 5, and these are the 4. So it's been a process, and I congratulate each of these 4 officers that we are hiring.
Just, what is the effective date? There's no effective date in the resolution.
They need to be sworn in before January 6th, which is the start of the academy for 2 of the individuals that need to attend. 2 other...
January 6th, I can't hear you.
January 6th.
5th.
So,
6. Okay.
Okay.
So that, we need a motion on that.
So move.
Second.
Councilperson Sabari? I'm sorry, Wu, Councilpersons Wu?
I spoke to Police Committee Chair Aversa about this, and he mentioned that the committee is going to make best efforts to ensure that all of the 4 new officers being hired will be on a new collective bargaining agreement. So I trust that he will work to make that happen. So under that condition, I vote yes.
Sung?
Yes.
Sabari?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Aversa?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Resolution 217, resolution to hire a new police officer, and the name is Nicholas Regan.
So I'm actually very happy to see one of my players from recreation soccer, who went to Fordham, went to Bergen Catholic, I believe.
Correct.
Proud that he's doing this, so I will definitely support this.
Need a motion?
So move.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu?
Yes, with the same condition as Resolution 216.
Song?
Yes.
Sabari?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Aversa?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
218, resolution to hire a new police officer, and the name is Joseph Farrelly. Need a motion?
So move.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu?
Yes, same condition as 216.
Song?
Yes.
Sabari?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Aversa?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
resolution 219, resolution to hire a new police officer, Brendan Zevitz.
So move.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu?
Yes, same condition as 216.
Sung?
Yes.
Sabari?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Aversa?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
authorize submission of strategic plan for Governor's Council, resolution 220. That's the funding that the police department receives, the match. Need a resolution? Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
221, authorized hold harmless agreement, 19 Clifton Terrace, Chung Ya Chai and Thomas Choi, Jasmine Choi. I need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
If anyone has a conflict, please abstain. I'm sorry, who motioned?
Me.
Who seconded?
I second.
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
22, authorized hold harmless agreement, 10 Maple Street, Zhang Lang Chen and Kaibo Hu.
So moved. Second.
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Sabari, Sung,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
223, hold harmless agreement, 22 Skyline Drive, Alexander Ma, Jack Ma.
So moved.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
224, authorized hold harmless agreement, 27 Bayview Avenue, C&J LLC.
Discussion? Do we know who the members of the LLC are?
We know.
I don't have, give me 1 second.
27 baby. The house anyway. I know anybody.
Joseph Lee. Councilwoman O? Okay. It's CC&J Real Estate Development LLC, property owner Joseph Lee.
I'll make a motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
225, transfer liquor license 0216-33006-010 for 464 Sylvan.
So moved.
I'm sorry. This is the liquor license for the
Old
Mama Mexico?
Yes, the old Mama Mexico.
Okay, do we know the,
Yes.
the shareholder?
Brandon Park?
Huh?
Brandon Park.
Mark? Okay.
That's the new person or the
Uh-huh.
existing? And who's it
New.
being transferred from?
Zach,
Person to person
I think
transfer.
it's David.
I forget. it's the
I think
dentist.
it's Dr. Ken.
Yeah, Dr. Kent, the dentist.
Dr. Lee.
Dr. Lee? Dr. Lee, the dentist?
David Lee?
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
You probably want to take this one. 226.
The 226 is the approved COA resolution for fees. If you look at it in the package, it's $900,000. I had asked that a breakdown be provided so people could actually see what the $900,000 goes towards. And it actually goes towards very little. I'll tell you what it is. Jeff Serenian, our COA attorney, gets paid $261,200, and that's for September, October, November, December. Harbor Consultants, they're also involved in that litigation. They get paid $24,673 for October and November work. Special Master, I can't say anything more than that, but Special Master gets paid $57,027 for October, November, we don't even know what December is. Nassau consultants, this is Bob Powell, I believe, he gets paid $38,295, and that's for September and November. There was no work in December, and October was paid. I'm glad you're all sitting down. The Chiesa Law Firm, which is Tom Troutner, he's a litigation attorney, he gets paid $461,581.04 for not including the mayor in any communications. Disgraceful, and I hope you're listening, Tom. That's for September, October, November, December. Al Wunsch, who just keeps up showing on these invoices month after month, matter after matter, whether or not he knows the subject matter or not, he's in here also for affordable housing work, which is laughable. He's getting $38,500 for November and December, and again, you're paying him, but he's not doing his job. He's not keeping the mayor and other council members informed. Also a disgrace. Morrison Mahoney, which is the planning board's attorney, working on some of the affordable housing matters, $20,489, and that was for October work. So the total is actually $901,766. So I know your resolution calls for $900,000. I don't know if you want to remember.
That was the number
It's an
that
emergency
Chris came up with.
appropriation
All right,
of
so you come up with the other
$900,000.
All right, so that's my soliloquy on that.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Councilpersons Wu,
No.
Song,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
The 227 is authorized transfer of funds. Ms. Duffy, what is that?
That is what we do every year, Mayor, when certain invoices are over what we have in the particular account. I'll give you an example since Ms. Eastwood is in the public. We had a purchase order for Reliable Tree for $40,000. Well, there were a lot of trees that had to be cut down or pruned, and he went over by $16,000. So because we need to fund that account, we move it out of another account that's not typical yearly work that we do.
All right, so this year-end adjustment is $86,600 year-end transfer.
There may be another one at the end of the year, but this is the first one.
We're at the end of the year.
Well,
So we're taking it out of group insurance.
yeah, we're taking,
And-
exactly.
Because it's not needed there.
Correct. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. The next ones are the amounts that the mayor just ran off. We're doing resolutions because they exceeded the not to exceed resolutions that were in place.
Yeah, so these are resolutions 228 through 234. I strenuously object to all of them except Morrison Mahoney's. This is garbage. All right, this is garbage that we are getting billed as a town for lawyers and professionals to do work, but only with Democrats on the council, okay? So think about that. That's outrageous. They should all lose their licenses.
We just do more than once.
Well, if you're going to do them all
You
at
can fire them all at once if you want. I'm happy with that, too.
Sure, if that's okay with the mayor.
Fire. So a motion for 228 through 234.
228 to
34.
I think that's all right, because I already informed the public of what the actual numbers are.
Okay.
Yeah, we already have that one.
Councilperson Wu,
No to all. How about Morrison Mahoney?
you said no.
Said no to all.
Okay. Song,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes to all.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the next one?
235 is amend the 2019 contract for reliable tree service.
For the reason I said before, they went over the 40,000 threshold. I need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilpersons Wu,
Yes.
Song,
Yes.
Sabari,
Yes.
Park,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Mayor, while we're talking about reliable tree service, and since Ms. Eastwood is in the audience, I would like a motion to prepare an RFQ for proposals for 2020, because this contract expires at the end of 19, and I'd like to have somebody in place in case there's an emergency.
We need that? All right, so let's do that.
Yes, you're in agreement? Okay, that's it, thank you. Committee reports?
Okay, any committee, council member reports? Let's start with Councilman Wu.
Nothing on my side on beautification, historical.
Thanks. Councilman Song?
Nothing to report.
Councilwoman Sabari?
Nothing to report. We're working on the negotiations with police and really can't speak about it.
Councilwoman Park?
So there was a Board of Health meeting, and everything went swimmingly. There was no issues. So that was the last meeting for the year. And then as far as the rec, we had our Christmas festivities this past week. Unfortunately, I was there to set up, but I couldn't be there because we had a wedding. But, you know, I know that other council people were there, and it was a great success, and much bigger turnout this year than last year.
The little kids were ecstatic. They were very, very happy.
Thank you. Councilwoman Aversa?
Welcome the new police officers, and now you're going to reach out to the chief, right, Mary, and see if it's okay to swear them in on
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilwoman?
I don't have any.
And also, I've been working with the basketball coaches. We're going to try a new concept this year to have our recreation. We have a travel team for basketball, but aside from that, we're going to have our recreation basketball group travel to Northern Valley towns and see how that works. I think it'll be a better opportunity for our little residents to learn more about the sports of basketball and to meet kids in different towns.
Which sports do we have now in the winter for children?
We have right now a clinic for basketball that's going extremely well, and I believe sign-ups probably started with fall baseball. Some kind of training.
Yeah, the rec basketballs are in January. We just finished the clinic this Tuesday.
Is there indoor soccer?
No.
Unfortunately, that's died out a little bit.
Okay. All right, so we talked about having our sign die meeting and our reorg on January 3rd at 5 p.m. at the Friday. So I hope everyone can attend. And I want to wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy Hanukkah, and have a great, happy, and joyous, healthy New Year.
Recess.
And I'm going to recess the meeting and not adjourn it.
All in favor? All in favor?
All right, happy holidays.